Hi, my name is Benedict. This is a relatively short video, off the cuff, no editing or anything. It's a follow-up, not directly or intended, but I did a somewhat disastrous review of Reaper 2 weeks ago, and the software did not work well under me. I struggled a lot getting my head around it. And as irony would have it, I've then had to do some mix work in Reaper, which caused me to have to really sort of sit down and try and get my head around it. I won't pretend to be a master of Reaper at all, and nor for those of you who love that I love reason, am I suggesting that I'm going to be abandoning reasoning in any hurry. But I'm starting to get a stronger sense of what Reaper does, how it works, its advantages. In a sense, if we wanted to be childish about it, we could say that Reason is like Lego. It's the cool guy, and Reaper is like Meccano. It's the thing that's all kind of wiry and spiky, but capable of doing more mechanical things. So I'm starting to see Reaper as a far more positive thing, but it's almost more of a wireframe which you kind of have to put together yourself. I spent a lot of time with setups on this, going through several people's videos with explaining how to change things so that they flow, well, better. A lot of the defaults are just strange. But once I worked out how to do those, things didn't feel as confusing. So now, overall, a slightly better stance on Reaper, and I've been testing my mixing in this using a track that I've already shown a couple of times in those HigherHz reviews. There we go. And despite actually existing for several months, this piece has totally resisted having a name. The biggest difficulties that I faced in this was really just, once I'd got my head around, okay, here's the track arranged, and within the workspace, was that feeling of I kind of didn't really know where 0 dB was, so to speak. I know the meter's there and showing me things, but I didn't feel like I had a clear sense of that. The F2 window in Reason, where you've got this constant spectrum view of whatever track you've clicked on, I really, really miss that. Having the click on a track, whatever track or bus I click on, and then I've got the F2 window there, which is just showing me what's happening. And I absolutely don't mix by vision, but I've become so used to that that it's there. I don't use it as my sound sculpting EQ that much. So if I need to, I'll pull in something else to prepare the sound, and then leave that free for finessing as I'm actually mixing. And that's the real purpose of that SSL style EQ. People are often using it backwards now, putting it on the beginning of the channel in their channel strip plugin, and then using some other kind of EQ in the mix, and whatever works for them, that's fine. But I do miss that centralized EQ big time. But I got through, and again, just that feeling of not really knowing where 0 dB is, even though, especially with this mixer out on full screen, I can have the mixer as tall as the screen, or the masters as tall as the screen. Still don't really feel like I know where I'm at. There's just something about Reasoning and that metering, especially the big meter, that I feel really confident. Now, maybe that's just something that's going to come with time. I struggled a bit with automation and these. Initially, I'm thinking, well, my fader's not moving. I'm so used to whatever's automated in Reason moves. And I know that's just one way. You can set this then to actually just read. Otherwise, they set as a trim. So you set up your automation, which we can see here, which is set up on the volume of the track. But that then leaves this fader as an offset, and I see the wisdom of that. I really do. But naturally, we tend to gravitate to what we know and are comfortable with. So where I needed to rearrange the level of the track, I found myself, once I had this set up to be able to see the movements, not that I need to see them because they're here, having to change. And I found the way that the envelopes behaved. You drag a segment and some of it moves, not all of it, but some of it, I found very confusing. And then eventually I realized, oh, it sort of grabs a section. So if I move here, it's going to move whatever is on either side. So it moves this section and therefore adjusts there's a logic to it. It's just a case of getting your head around that. But then it's not easy to say, okay, this whole envelope, I want to highlight and just move the whole thing. Now, maybe there's some other way of doing it, but it's just not always immediately obvious. It's not saying at all that it's bad. It was just a little confusing as to, okay, well, how do I get there? But overall, the mix, I think, has worked out okay. Is it a perfect mix? Didn't necessarily aim for that. It was more just a case of, okay, well, how do we do it? But I've had no crashes. I've had nothing lost going AWOL like it did in the review. And things have been consistent. I didn't get into MIDI with this. I spent some time yesterday and the day before with MIDI, and they have been more consistent. So a bit more positive overall about Reaper. But again, I wouldn't be putting a rank beginner into this, because while it is powerful, as I say, this is like Meccano against Lego, and a beginner probably needs something that's more like Duplo. So to go from Duplo to Meccano is just probably a little crazy. Hope you found some value in this. If you have any comments, down below. You have a great day now.